Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. 30-year affair. I am 61 years old and my wife is 59. She started her affair in 1990. We had been married for 14 years. We had bought a brand new house in 1985 and our life together was absolutely amazing. We enjoyed each other in every way and I have never been as happy as I was during that time. She constantly raved about our closeness and we would spend entire weekends lying in bed together enjoying every part of each other and building a bond that I believed could never be broken. We were the true definition of soulmates and both had good paying jobs and took a 2-week vacation to Hawaii to celebrate our anniversary in 1986. Number 2 people have ever been closer. This continued until 1988 when she approached me about having children. Our first son was born in 1989. Like many couples, we didn't want an only child, so we planned on getting pregnant again within the next 2 years. My wife got pregnant in July of 1990. I had no idea that my life was about to explode. It was September 1990 and I got a call at work that I needed to go see my wife at the hospital. After arriving, I found my wife and asked her what was going on. She stated that she was having some vaginal bleeding and being pregnant went to the emergency room. She was alright and they prescribed bed rest. She would have to take off work. The doctor asked me if we had just had intercourse and I told him I had been at work. He didn't say any more and neither did my wife. She later related to me that this was her first time with the OM and it had been a little rough. We returned home and argued about the doctor's intercourse remark. For the next few days I had a sneaking suspicion who the OM was. We were involved in a side business with my brother-in-law who had just separated from my sister when he was caught molesting his own 14-year-old niece. I'm sure you all know this guy, he's the one always complimenting your wife and shaking your hand. Not wanting to subject my 1-year son to this, I decided I would stay in a hotel for a while. Terribly missing my wife and son, I went home most evenings to visit my wife and son and returned home within 2 weeks. Things seemed to get better, or so I thought. We would even make love, very gently. My mother would come take my son on Mondays so my wife could get some rest. What I didn't know was that as soon as my mother left they were getting together in either my own home or his apartment. Keep in mind that this was before the days of cell phones and internet, so it was easier to hide. Keep in mind that I thought we had got through our bad times and she had agreed it would never happen again. Less than a year later we moved to another house by my wife's suggestion, next door to my parents. It only made sense since grandma would be easily available to watch our 2 boys. My wife's affair moved with us. So we settled in with our 2-year-old and 14-month-old son. But within several months I was struck by lightning again. My wife asked me to go to the doctor with her because she needed a minor procedure done. When we arrived I went back with my wife and held her hand while she had genital warts removed. Please folks, never trust a doctor to really explain what's going on due to doctor/patient laws. Before we left I grabbed a pamphlet about them. This was HPV, which is an STD, and I didn't have HVP. The doctor didn't even ask me to get tested. We returned home and had a huge argument. We went to a marriage counselor who asked her if she wanted to remain married and she told him she didn't. It was agreed that she would move out. I was left with a 14-hour-a-day job, my 2-year-old son and an infant. And I put the deposit down on her apartment. They could now have what they wanted, they could be together, but I denied her the divorce, telling her we needed time apart to make a sound decision which would take time for both of us to sort out. So now I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, getting my 2 sons ready and dropping them off at my mother's next door at 4 a.m. and heading to work. My wife was occasionally dropping by in the evenings to spend a little time with our boys. And I was quickly getting worn out. This continued for a couple of months until at one of my wife's visits she noticed how bad I looked and asked me if she could help out. We agreed she could come over at 4 a.m. and helped get the boys ready and then take them to grandma's at 6 a.m. Not 2 weeks later, my wife shows up at my door after work crying, saying she is sorry and we need to work on our marriage and how much she wants to be a good wife to me and a good mother to our children. I thought about it a day or two after we laid down the ground rules. She agreed there would be no more affair and she would be the wife she was supposed to be. It was going to be rough, but I felt a good chance that I could get my wife back. This affair had now been going for over 2 years. Unknown to me, it was far from over. It took some time, but things looked like my soulmate had come back to me. We were close again. We were friends and lovers. I was convinced the OM was out of the picture. I even agreed to let her quit her job and be a full-time mother. Our home life was great with friends and family over the holidays. Everyone had a great time. But shortly after my wife started as a full-time mom, it became apparent something was wrong. She not only was yelling at the kids, but it appeared she actually hated her own children. In hindsight, I am convinced she was lashing out because they were making it harder for her to continue with the OM. I would come home to find I was now my children's protector and not a husband and father. Arguments now became an everyday occurrence. I could not reason with her. She just wasn't happy and wanted everyone to know, and my children were being left with my mother more and more. I asked what was going on and if she was still seeing the OM, but she would just continue to lie. Yes, she loved me. Yes, she loved the kids. No, she wasn't seeing the OM, and if I didn't have proof, I needed to stop bringing it up and hurting her feelings. She told me she was mad all the time because she felt I didn't trust her. I would later find out that she was not only seeing the OM, but she would take my children with her to meet him at the park, museum, picnics, etc. She was being a good mom in her fantasy world. She even started taking the kids to church. The same church the OM attended, of course. This is where the recollections get blurry. By now this affair had been going on for over 4 years. I believe it lasted around 10 years. And my wife hid it for over 30 years and is still trying to hide it right now. It's amazing how cheaters will try to hide behind the same lies over and over. I am staying with one of my sons trying to take all this in. My wife is at our house. I am now an old man married to an old woman who cheated on me for 30 of our over 44 years of marriage. The worst part, I am still madly in love with this woman. I believe she only told me about the reality of what happened because of the poison she's been carrying for 30 years and the fact that we are now older. I am totally devastated. You cannot make this shit up. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. This is a 100% true story. And it still doesn't have an end. Please listen to me. Don't marry a person who had a traumatic childhood. You cannot save them. Don't marry a person whose parents were cheaters. They will follow that example. Don't marry a person with mental issues. It will become an excuse for their actions. I am hoping that posting this will help me in my healing process. I haven't gone into extensive detail, but I can tell you my wife had hundreds of incidents occur that to any sound person would have been a stop sign in regards to her affair, and she ran right through every one of them. I knew about the first 5 months of the affair and thought she had gotten over it. I was wrong. Please comment if you want, and in time I will try to update you as I find out more. God bless you and please save me. Well, she did it because you let her know you will stay with her, even if she continues doing it. Cheaters take it as permission to cheat and get away with it if we forgive them. No one ever changes. It's sad, awful. I just hope you had not been with her after it was revealed a second time. No one ever changes. Amendment, without appropriate incentive. Every person can change for the better, but they need to feel the need to, and have the motivation within themselves to. By letting her put her selfishness over your self-esteem, she is secure in knowing you will forever be her doormat, and she never needs to change. No incentive. If you wanted your wife back, you should have dropped her the minute you knew. She in the least would have been willing to go to therapy, or at least open up about why she is a cheater, and try to salvage your relationship. Now, 2+ decades down the line, you have basically shown her if she cheats on you, you'll pander to her whims and grovel for attention and validation. You literally reward her cheating. And for what? Love? Love wasn't enough for her to keep her pants on. Devotion and sacrifice aren't enough. So either she doesn't love you, or your inability to do what you should have is enough reason to not respect you. So, you OG so screwed up, why would she feel the need to change? From her perspective, she gets her cake and eats it. Birthday cake. What reason would she genuinely have to better herself, if you'll never leave or put yourself first? I meant it in the sense that they don't change if we keep forgiving them. Totally, you're right. I just wanted to expand on that because he definitely isn't getting it if he let this happen that long, you know? Yeah, he got too forgiving. Wish he had put himself first. This story is a great endorsement for the one and done school of appropriate reactions to infidelity in marriage. Your ongoing forgiveness of her continual infidelity was simply enabling her unforgivable behaviors. I'm very sorry that you wasted your life on a woman of this caliber. She wasted your life. This isn't love, you were tricked. While you was living in fantasy and continuing to live in fantasy, she was living a reality and played you. She told you everything because she has nothing to lose, not because of guilt or poison. Personally, I will give her divorce on the spot. She had no consideration for you then, so you should consider treating her the same now. Only reason why she stayed with you was because you was a better option or safe opinion. I feel bad for you, she played you well. I'm sorry this happened to you. Thank you for telling us your story. It's very helpful. That sounds awful, man, and shouldn't happen to anyone. First of all, I hope that you're alright, and secondly, if you need anyone to talk to, I'll be here. Maybe now that you don't have to worry about your wife spending time looking after yourself and spending time with your kids, don't go back to her because you'll be in the same shit show as before. Use this to spend time on yourself and focus on yourself. Everyone who ever thinks about taking a cheating wife back should read this. I am so sorry that you still love this woman. You should have left back in 1990, you could have had a wonderful life filled with loving memories with someone new that actually truly was capable of love and loved you. How can you be made a snake for being a snake? You caught her so many times, even took her back after she caught a lifelong STD. You say that she has mental issues, but buddy, so do you. No sane person would have taken her back after what she did to you. I have no sympathy for you, you did this to yourself. You only get one life and this is how you chose to live it. I feel absolutely no pity for you. You created the hell you are in. You should have ended it the first time she came home with an STD. What a waste of a life. All the yelling at the end of your post is just window dressing. I hope people learn from your example. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Good on you for sharing this for others to learn from. She had no consequences, so she felt that you were okay being cheated on. Always burn them down financially, always divorce, always tell everyone what they did. I'm sorry for what you went through. You can still divorce this lying cheater. And you really should. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.